Hello, folks, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe 21 Love, here with the Aew Dynamite review for basically the end of January. I'm recording this on the 26th, but for 24th edition of Dynamite, here today for you guys. Aew Dynamite, to summarize it all, was a decent show. Wasn't a bad show. Wasn't a great show. Was a decent show. Probably a 5 or 6 out of 10. Solid. I thought was a solid open with Samoa Joe. And culminating with a main event that, to be honest, you look at on paper and didn't really expect it to happen. With Copeland, that's the other great thing about, the world of wrestling expanding, excuse me. Whether you love or hate AEW, one of the things that's been great about AEW's existence is these unique matches, these kind of, I would say, some are dream matches and some are just, you don't really think could happen, but they do. And that's the level sometimes AEW provides, and it's been fun to see. And it was the case on Wednesday in the main event with Minoru Suzuki and Aew Copeland. I mean, you just thought Aew Copeland as a WWE lifer, and then ever since he's arrived in AEW, these chess pieces here, this here, it's just now we're starting to expand of, okay, Copeland versus Minoru Suzuki. It was fun for what it was, but just shows you the level of dream matches that are, or not necessarily dream matches, but matches you didn't think were possible, are on the radar here in AEW. And, Copeland has made the rounds saying that he wants to work at Wrestle Kingdom in the Tokyo Dome. So I'm sure we're going to get more of New Japan and, Copeland being there. I mean, we saw Bryan Danielson at Wrestle Kingdom this year. So it's only possible you can see Aew Copeland. It's like Will Ospreay. He's arriving in AEW in just a few short weeks. Probably next week. See the tail. But yeah, Ospreay's on his way to AEW. There's a slew of matches still to come for Aew Copeland in AEW. And it's crazy that, Jay White came in, Aew Copeland. It's sort of the similar narrative. People are saying, well, drop the ball with him, he's being ruined, so on and so forth. Here's the thing. Copeland, part of the reason he left, or a good reason as to why he left WWE and after AEW was because he wanted to wrestle more. WWE wasn't going to allow with the whole part-time thing. And yes, Copeland's not there every week, but I can certainly say he's wrestled more on WWE or AEW rather than simply his last few times in WWE. You know, is he working with Topic Card? No. But that's probably part of his decision. You know, he's labeled the Cope Open, wanting to get back to Chris Cage, wanting to be for the TNT Championship. I mean, there's too many impatient people in the community that are like, oh, this. I mean, it's not happening, so but nonetheless, here to talk about AEW Dynamite, which again wasn't bad, wasn't great, in the middle, as you expect with, or how it comes with some of these AEW shows. Now, I won't touch upon this because it was kind of felt throughout the show, specifically. So, one thing we have all harped on, the last number of weeks, about AEW is their energy. And the fact that, look, I get it, especially since Wembley, it feels like they've gotten the sense of, okay, you sell out an 80,000 seat stadium or close to in London. Okay, so going for trying to pack these larger arenas every week. And that's not the case. People poke fun at, every week. It's like, oh, these empty seats, this and that. Like WWE probably hadn't had some empty seat or half empty seat arena sometime. But nonetheless, people gotta get picky. But I will say that the energy and, trying to do too much to a T, it's okay to sell out a not as large arena if it means the energy is there. I mean, there were a number of times during the show on Wednesday where in segments you could hear the echo or the lack of energy because trying to sell a 10 plus thousand seat arena and only have around 2,000 if that. But yeah, that's all I'll say about it. Anyway, now let's get into review. Now let's get into the show. Thank you all for joining me. You guys know the drill. Subscription over here. can find the subscription box, notification bell, all that jazz. Thank you guys all. Become members, become part of the channel. You guys are mostly the reason why I do this, plus because I love, talk about sports and pro wrestling, etc. And like is all the way over here. Nonetheless, thank you guys. Let's get this bad boy going, shall we? So, Samoa Joe. I mentioned Samoa Joe rocking the suit, becoming about the AEW World Champion, really is working. He just feels like a world champion. And it's definitely great to see him get, his recognition. Wasn't afforded the opportunity in WWE, but everywhere else he was. But Samoa Joe again chimed in, especially with that black, leather world title over him. It's definitely great. He mentioned how it's a new day in the industry, talking about how many of their favorites will trot down to the ring tonight and hoping to vie for a chance at his world title. But while some see it as an opportunity, he sees it as a chance to have the worst day of your life, except to me. And anyone who has that chance will see similar fates as to what he did to Hook last week. So, it wasn't too long after we heard the words of Hook, the Hook symbol appeared above in the arena and heard Hook's music play. He tried out there. Definitely was bit sour last week. We did not see the FTW title, but yeah, it was just him, was Hook. Went out there and kind of love the promo. I mean, definitely feels like we're hearing more and more of Hook, subtly, but still, the last few months. And doesn't need to be full-blown promos. We just need to see Hook, work more on his voice. So, said last week, you won, I lost. So Hook extended his hand out there, and Samoa Joe shook his hand, and Hook went in ear to ear, and it looked almost like Samoa Joe was about to smirk and just be like proud, almost seemed like an older brother type situation where it's like, respect him. He's glad that he did what he did last week, but, kept his composure. And Hook said, I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know how, but I will definitely see you again. So, there was that. And Samoa Joe got back and Mike said, you probably will. But if you excuse me, I came out here to survey the scene for my title. So, he said, for now, security, get the unworthy out of its ring right now. So, I mean, I always hate it with pro wrestling security. They always look like bums. But nonetheless, we had a few security guards out there try to reasonable hook, try to escort him out of the ring. Said one was tossed around, the other was locked into a red room by Hook, whom he passed out, and it wasn't until after Hook left. So, a unique segment to open the show. You know, it's like Samoa Joe, Hook. You knew based on last week that in some form or fashion they had to be a part of the show this week. And probably wasn't the best way, but I thought Samoa Joe's promo kind of cut to the point. You know, again, great at least to start the show with the world champion. And considering it was on commentary for the Hangman Swerve or penta match after, good thing. So, then we got into the first match of the show, Hangman Page versus Penta El Zero Miero. And this is funny because Samoa Joe was in commentary, and Samoa Joe with Taz on commentary blatantly asks, you know, who raised that kid? And Taz couldn't help but chuckle and laugh. Yeah. Little funny thing there. But, so we got here Hangman versus Penta. A unique and fun match. They appear, you know, just reason as to why. Kind of felt like the reasoning was just out there, but to get Hangman momentum in the Revolution, you know, people critique it for that matter, but yeah, so anyway, this was a fun match, especially with Samoa Joe's commentary. So, Penta hit tope over the top. Hangman follow up some offense in the ring, hit Death Valley Driver for a near fall. Penta using this move a lot more. It seems like he went for his fireman's carry, like into a power slam, but instead it looked more like a twisting airplane spin, like F5. Either way, looked good. Near fall out of it by Penta. Heyman got the offense back, hit a Liger bomb then on Penta, but only for a 2 count. So, good spot in the match. Heyman went for a buckshot lariat, but Penta ducked out of it and caught the other arm into a Made in Japan for a near fall. Couldn't get the job done. So this was sort of the finish. Now I will say this felt kind of clunky, or as in non-selling type of a finish. Because I know people are going to finish the match and have airy feelings about it. So they were on the apron. It looked like Penta was going for Fear Factor, pile driver. Hangman going for the Deadeye. Back and forth, but Hangman got the advantage, hit the Deadeye on Penta, followed up with his Aria moonsault on Penta. Then, after he got back in the ring, then back in the ring, he went for buckshot and then caught him on the rebound with the other lariat. Only got a near fall of it. So, after all that, Penta kicks out. And then, all of a sudden, back at it again. Hangman hits, then the buckshot lariat. 1, 2, 3. Pins Penta. There you go. Hangman gets a win. So, there you go. Hangman gets a win as we head a month towards Revolution, but Hangman looks strong. As kind of figured with this match with Penta. Orange Cassidy, he was backstage. He was asked about Roddy's challenge for a title match at Revolution. And he basically said, okay, I'll do it. And he said, well, he asked Tony, I'll get some of my friends, I'll get some of my enemies, put them into a match on Rampage, and I'll fight the winner of that match on Collision. So, I saw who was in this match, and he can't help but be disappointed. I get it. The main match to build towards is Roddy versus Orange, but could at least make the build a little better. I get they have a month, but I'll go over who is in the match and y'all understand why. My reaction. So we got Wardlow versus Trent barreta. First match Wardlow has been in since being a part of the Undisputed Kingdom. So, Wardlow, we can tell, they're clearly trying to replicate, Wardlow creates a name for himself, similarly to MJF, and Adam Cole is going to play similarly that MJF role to Wardlow. So, got this match with Trent. Now, it's going to be a build, it's going to be process, because clearly Wardlow's not going to vie for the world title Revolution. Perhaps at maybe All Out, maybe sometime later this year. So, got this match with Trent. Now, I can definitely see people critiquing of this ain't gonna help Wardlow get closer to a world title picture. You know, this was a decent match for what it was. You know, we know how good both guys are. I will say this is kind of weird. You know, with the Undisputed Kingdom looking to become roughshod over AEW, their momentum feels strange because we still have a month till Revolution, so Roddy is going to take some time before he wins that international title. The Kingdom is holding the Ring of Honor tag team titles. No offense to Ring of Honor, but if you want to have them look more beastly in the eyes of AEW, for them to have the AEW tag team titles would certainly mean a lot more. And Cole's so injured, so I mean, kind of in a weird phase right now. But that show was decent. So there was one spot where Trent went for a tope or a suicida, but was caught by Wardlow. Real spot on the outside. Wardlow back in, got hit with a power driver. That was pretty much only Trent's believable near fall, if that. So Wardlow, casualty of war. It's good to see that move again. You know, that big knee strike out of the corner. And then Wardlow just needed a powerbomb. 1, 2, 3. And Wardlow got the win. So, but I mean, if you're going to build this guy to get back momentum to potentially take the world title, gonna need more wins and exposure than that. But, you know, you love the theme. We'll see. We'll see going forward. But Wardlow gets a win. This, I have to say, was a unique sit-down with Toni Storm and Deonna Purrazzo. So, first of all, the cool thing is Tony's sitting on one side with, you know, Luther and Mariah May. So that's one thing. And then we see the black and white, you know, centered around her side of the stage. So that was certainly a fun visual and, you know, makes sense to the character. And then we see Deonna on the other side and Nelly Paquette's in the middle, and then it's color. So that was a good touch to the aspect. So Tony talked about, you know, how she can't use their past friendship to maneuver her way into a title shot. Saying that, you know, she's had a lot of friends, but many or all were beneath her. And claimed that while she may be the best technical wrestler, she's not Toni Storm or benevolent as her. So she talked about John getting body shamed, and let me just say, for the fact, if you were one of these guys that body shamed Deonna Purrazzo on social media, what the heck? Just what the heck? She is a beautiful woman who knows how to wrestle very well. So, seriously, just calm down. So, in a comment made by Toni Storm, she talked about, well, I heard you were body shamed, and that's ridiculous because there's a lot to shame about you. A lot more to shame about you. So Deonna had the mic. She talked about, doesn't recognize this Toni Storm, saying how it's pretty much a facade of Toni, saying that she won and she begs for Toni that came to the U.S., ended up sleeping on her couch or sleeping on her floor. And this was also a unique touch. So she said, well, Toni, you say we're not all that alike. Well, she said, well, Toni, look at your ankle. Or, so, excuse me, Deonna turned around her ankle and showed a tattoo. And then Toni Storm, she had these like, I don't know what you say, leggings or I don't know, but she pulled up and then her ankle tattoo showed, and it's matching tattoos. So Deonna talked about how she'll be the new AEW Women's Champion, and this just started a ruckus, or whatever it's called. Toni and John started brawling a bit, and Luther tried to protect Toni, and this is kind of hilarious. So, Deonna went for a big kick on Luther, or looked like Mariah May. She was in the way, and then Mariah May ducked, and then Luther got decked with a big kick from Deonna Purrazzo. So yeah, that was a unique travesty to the butler of Toni Storm. Deonna held the title up high over her head, and that was pretty much how the segment ended. Fun. It's good, obviously, to hear Deonna Purrazzo talk more. This is obviously a semi-feud for these two. Taya Valkyrie, she called out Deonna Purrazzo to the match next week. So that's something to look forward to. Two former TNA female wrestlers now duking up again in AEW. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, this nice little feud between Toni and Deonna. I mean, the way it feels like at Revolution when these two face off, that probably gonna get Jamie Hayter returning and or Mercedes Moné debuting in AEW. I mean, that's just kind of how it feels. So we'll see, but I'm liking the build so far with Deanna and Tony Storm and how they're paying weeks of attention to it. So, good thing. Jon Moxley. He cut a promo backstage. I'd say, though, if I do have to go back to critiquing, it's, definitely, Moxley's booking as of late. So he faced Shane Taylor on Collision. He's fighting Lee Moriarty on Rampage. Moxley's in a weird spot. I mean, he could definitely find ways to put him more up the card or putting him something more useful to try to build up, I mean, again, I still want to see the Blackpool Combat Club versus the House of Black. So, I mean, we'll see. But, because that big steel cage match happened Saturday night for Collision, which, you felt bad because it's going to be during the Rumble. So, we'll see. Johnny TV and Taya Valkyrie, I mentioned. So, it's good that they're paired together on Ring of Honor. And Taya talked about Deanna jumping the line. Said that she's not one of these female wrestlers that's afraid of her or ducking her. Says she knows her well. And that next week she's going to beat her and allow for Deanna to go to the back of the line. So, Johnny TV said baby got back and then they smooched and that was the thing. The other thing is they're wearing like these fur-like coats. These like... It's hard to say, but I will say their attire... it's working. It's definitely some snazzy, like, lion-like coat, something. Fur coat. Something I would like to have, I would say. Swerve Strickland versus Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy, I did like how, Jeff handled himself very well in a match for Swerve, and match wasn't great, but certainly delivered. And you're glad to see. So, Jeff had the advantage. He went for so he hit a poetry in motion off the steps as he hit Swerve, and they kind of went both sailing over the ring apron or barricade. There we go. And that was kind of how they went to break. The steps were used. Considering how Jeff is at his age, he's so cringe for the steps or any spots, hard spots being used. So, but Jeff, he had a twist of fate on the steel steps or the side of the steps that was on. So, back ring, Swerve went for a twist fade of the zone, but Jeff Karen hit a series of roll-ups, followed with a jawbreaker. Swerve got back the advantage, hit a flatliner, right into a suplex, and then a swerve stomp on Jeff. 1, 2, 3, and Swerve beats Jeff Hardy. So, like we mentioned for Hangman, Swerve carries the momentum into, or as we draw closer to Revolution on March 3rd. And kind of sticking with Swerve, so Hangman, he was backstage with Renee, asked him about the events of the match earlier with Penta, and then Swerve rolled in. So, one other thing about AEW they mentioned, which I think is a good idea, especially when handled right, they're bringing back the rankings. And, when AEW started, it's certainly one of those things where made them different from WWE because AEW had the rankings. Now, one of the things I think many hated, was how a person boasted their record and came into the top 5 naturally with wins on dark, or now that dark is gone, potentially Ring of Honor. But yeah, at the point, but it's a great thing that they'll be returning. They announced how both Hangman and Swerve are both undefeated 2024. So that's obviously to keep in mind. But yeah, Swerve chimed in, well, no one's talking about what I just did. And yeah, you may be 3-0, but I'm almost 3-0. And he chimed in, well, who is the last person to beat you, Hangman? Hangman said, and I quote, "It's new year, new me, dumbass." Words of Hangman. Words of Hangman. So, I know people are going to use that for a meme or whatever. But yeah, so Hangman was about to throw off, and then Renee pulled him back in, and they're like, well, big news for next week. So, said that next week, you guys are going to have dealer's choice matches for each other. So, the way it said was Hangman will pick Swerve's match, and Swerve will pick Hangman's match. So, interesting criteria there. We'll see. We'll see. Thunder Rosa for Swerve Velvet. Can't complain about more Thunder Rosa. She only helps the women's division. Certainly, we could say. Now that she's back. So, against Red Velvet, this solid match here. Thunder Rosa, Indian, got the win. Good stuff here. Yeah, her new entrance is something. And yeah, it's good. It's welcome for her against Red Velvet, who we have not seen. You know, we have seen her a couple times, but yeah. So yeah, Rosa hit her pump handle like driver. I believe it's called the Tijuana Bomb. Um, yeah, on Velvet for the win. Apparently, Thunder Rosa said she's coming for Tony Storm. And they kind of botched that. So, but it's good. You know, the number one title. I mean, I was kind of expecting Thunder Rosa to go after Julia Hart. But, you know, number one title for the women should be the AEW Women's World title. So, you know, makes sense to have more than one to go after at the same time. Darby Allin and Sting. Unique criteria or unique segment here. So, last week, Darby laid out a challenge talking about Big Bill and Ricky Starks. This week, only had two. And with the presumption that the Young Bucks are probably going to be Sting's retirement match at Revolution, how is this going to be a factor? So, they're out the ring, and I did see an interview of Darby where he was in full character with the face paint and everything, and someone asked Darby, what's it like to team with Sting, how is it for AEW, etc. And it was just, it's definitely different seeing Darby interview and then, just, yeah, it's different. So, anyway, so Darby had the mic pretty much all segment and asked, everywhere I go, I do interviews and people are like, "What? How does it feel to be teaming along with the icon Sting?" And talks about it being a dream, talk about the moment they had years ago when they said he might not wrestle again, but they wrestled in his wrestling ring in his garage or somewhere. They're rolling around, and Darby told Sting, "You still got it." And says he doesn't really need to say much because he got the crowd when they say that you still got it. And talk about since then that they're 27-0 as a tag team. And said perhaps Sting still has what it takes to be a champion. And so they talked about their challenge for Big Bill and Ricky Starks. And so yes, Sting. And Sting said, "Amen." give a big, "Ah!" scarecrow like how, and then that was pretty much it. So, and then we saw the Bucks who arrived earlier, Nicholas and Matthew Jackson. Their transformation is certainly fun to see. So then after we got Big Bill and Ricky Starks. So Big Bill, who's done well for himself on the mic, said, "We accept your challenge." And Ricky Starks said, "How ironic that 3 years ago, with a certain partner of his, that we were your first match in AEW, and how ironic that we'll be part of your last match, because you're not making it Revolution, my friend." And the match, interesting timing. The match was made for 2 weeks on Dynamite. So, yeah, so that would be on the 7th. So, can have Darby and Sting versus Big Bill and Ricky Starks for the tag team titles. So, people are talking about, well, Young Bucks, could they win the titles, potentially before Revolution, and then we get, more because Sting's retirement match doesn't need a title, but it would certainly mean more. So, I mean, Sting and Darby probably win the titles in 2 weeks and then dropping them to the Bucks, unless the Bucks get involved in this match. But, it's something to think about. Look, Sting is going to go out the way he wants to go out. Whether people are going to criticize him the way he wants to go out, it is what it is. I mean, I wasn't alive yet when Sting was in WCW, or his early stages of WCW. I was very young through the end of WCW, but of course I still remember playing as him as WCW for NWO, and I loved his time in TNA, regardless of what people say. Short time in WWE certainly was unique. I'm not saying they did it the best way. And now in AEW, it's certainly been fun the last couple of years. And yeah, Sting's going to go out the way he wants to go out. So can't fault him for that, as one of the greats and one of the best of all time. Mogul Embassy versus the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn for the AEW Trio Styles. You get my confusion because, last time we saw the Mogul Embassy, they lost the Ring of Honor 6-man titles to Bullet Club Gold, who was actually out there on the stage in support of the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn. So, all in all, Was a fine match here. Go figure that Bull Cup Gold would get semi-involved. But finish came here as we got famouser than the Arrival, then mic drop by the Acclaimed. 1, 2, 3. And they retain. So it was there. I mean, the most plausible outcome and situation that comes out of all of this is a unification matchup between these two trios. I mean, it's like to have two sets of trio titles in the same faction per se. I mean, it's not needed. Or just in general, it's not needed to have two sets of trio titles with how many trios AEW has. So, you still have a month till Revolution. So, yeah. Also, interesting enough to say. So, talked about the women. Serena Deeb. Great thing for her, although I feel bad for her because, again, Collision's going to be taking place in the Royal Rumble, or during the Royal Rumble. So, but we'll see Serena Deeb's return match. First time since 2022. First match. And, we were wondering, it's like, going through perhaps a divorce, injuries, and then it was revealed that she went under a number of seizures as well. So pretty frightening, but the way it seems, as she has had a couple of unique vignettes. Excuse me, and if she's deemed healthy and good to go, then happy for her to get back in the ring. We'll see her return match on Saturday on Collision. Main events. Main event. Still felt surreal. Adam Copeland versus Minoru Suzuki. So, Copeland, talked about doing this cold open, and, the story was, he asked if we could get Suzuki. And Tony Khan said, well, we'll see, I'll make a call. So then, Copeland doesn't know, but it gets advertised, and then he gets told by Moxley that it's made. So, I mean, there you go. So, but yeah, this match was a unique one, to say the least. Just in the sense of watching it. Copeland for Suzuki. So, as you expect, these guys beat the crap out of each other. Suzuki, at his age, I mean, so fun to see. They start out hitting each other with forearms to the face, back and forth. Follow up some chops. You could hear it, and then, I think Copeland certainly felt him, and he even said after that was the hardest he's been hit in his life. Um, yeah, and Suzuki, I think he welcomed the physicality of his match, definitely. So there were a bit of botches, I will say, with how Suzuki took some of the moves of Copeland, but nonetheless, this was one match. So Copeland is Impaler DT for separation. There you go. And Suzuki, biggest part of him for the match, he walked in the Fujiwara armbar on Copeland. Now, it was definitely cinched, and after a while in this brutal match, certainly was felt. But the long limbs and the big body of Copeland served to him as he got to the ropes. So, Suzuki went for a choke. And out of the corner, kind of felt where this was heading. So, as Copeland, exposed the top turnbuckle. So, Copeland, out of nowhere, he hit Suzuki with a spear, but only for a near fall. Copeland looked perplexed, surprised, whatever you want to say. And then Suzuki, like a zombie, just like kept it up, and then all of a sudden, rising up to walk Copeland into the choke again. But Copeland had the wherewithal to move toward the exposed turnbuckle. Suzuki went headfirst. Took a bit to lock it on, but he locked on the kill switch on Suzuki. 1, 2, 3. Again, message for Christian Cage. And Adam Copeland gets a win over Minoru Suzuki. And you can tell Copeland was showing it. Adam Copeland, he took the mic after and said, yeah, that's hardest been hit in his freaking life. He probably said something else that couldn't be aired on TV. So then he said, Suzuki, respect. So then he offered his hand, and Suzuki, in just a violent yell, he went, ah! And then he walked off disgusted, pissed that he lost. And Copeland was like, yeah, I'd probably be disappointed if he shook my hand anyway. And then he said, Christian Cage, I'm still coming for you. So I imagine the rubber match is going to take place at Revolution. It's my opinion. Christian wasn't there tonight. I understand. I know some people are confused, but I understand why they've been keeping Christian and Copeland away for a couple weeks, to let it breathe a bit for the feud. Nonetheless, we got a month to go. We'll see. But either way, it should be a fun trilogy match at Revolution. Another stipulation, we'll see. But can't complain too much. Again, it was a middle of the road show. Like a 5 or 6, but wasn't bad. I know the energy is definitely an effect with the show, but as far as the overall show, I thought it was decent. But anyways, guys, that's it for the show and the podcast today. Hope you guys enjoy it. So I think I may do a little dual review in a way this weekend. So the Royal Rumble, it's Saturday, and Collision is also Saturday. So what I'm thinking is I may do a little review of Collision, and then in the same video, same episode, flip it to the Royal Rumble. Because, yeah, it's been a while since I've reviewed a WWE pay-per-view. And soon it'll be fun to get back to the Royal Rumble. I know I said possibly Survivor Series, but I didn't get to it, my bad. But we'll see. But, yeah, take care, guys. Thank all for joining me. Like button over here. Click that like, thumbs up. Helps out the channel. Feel free to comment as well what you liked, what you didn't like about the show, about the podcast, etc. I love fan interaction. It's fun. Keep everyone involved. Subscription again over here. Subscribe. Thank you guys all. See you guys next time. Adios. Peace.